Hi everyone, Jim Ryan here, and I hope you're all doing well. We have had a very good couple of weeks in terms of our COVID numbers, and my thanks to all of you for helping us keep these numbers low. We currently have 77 active cases, and only 5% of isolation space and 6% of quarantine space are occupied, and hospitalizations also remain low. We are now over halfway through the fall semester, with 5 weeks left until Thanksgiving. 5 weeks is a long time, and there's still plenty of work to be done and fun to be had. But we've also started thinking ahead, and today I'd like to share some of our plans around Thanksgiving, J-term, and the beginning of the spring semester. You'll be hearing more about all of this in the weeks ahead, but here's a general preview. First, to prevent the spread of the virus, students who return home for Thanksgiving should not return to Charlottesville until the start of the spring semester, whether you live on grounds or off, unless there are extenuating circumstances or Charlottesville is your primary home. After Thanksgiving, all remaining classes will be held online, exams will be virtual, and dining options will be limited. Students and faculty in professional schools, which may follow a different schedule, should check with their deans. To help ensure a safe return to home communities and to prevent further spread of the virus, we're planning to offer every student a COVID test before they leave the area. Students living on grounds will take pre-departure tests through the regular student testing program, and we will provide students living off grounds with the same Let's Get Checked test kits that were used for pre-arrival testing over the summer. We also have the capacity to provide tests to faculty or staff who need them. Looking ahead to next year, remember that in addition to fall and spring classes, undergraduate tuition this year also covers one J-term course and one course in the first summer session of 2021. Students interested in taking a J-term course can register starting the week of November 9th, and all classes will take place online. We've designed a new set of J-term courses specifically for this academic year, and you'll hear more about them from our Provost, Liz Magill, in just a minute. Now, after consulting with public health experts, we've made the decision to start the spring semester a little later than usual. The first day of classes will be February 1st instead of the original date of January 20th. This change will cut down on the time that students are together on grounds during the height of the flu season. During the spring semester, students will once again have a choice as to whether to be here in person or not. We will offer as many classes as possible in person, and all students who wish to study and live on grounds will be welcome to do so. In-person classes will also have an online option for students who either can't or don't want to be on grounds, with the exception of a small number of labs and practicums. Everyone on grounds will be required to follow policies around wearing masks, avoiding large gatherings, practicing physical distancing, and meeting testing requirements. As part of our efforts to limit travel to and from Charlottesville, we will replace the traditional week-long spring break with multiple shorter breaks. We've heard from students that the lack of a fall break this semester has been difficult, and we want to make sure that everyone gets a chance to rest and recover this spring. Students will be encouraged to stay in the area during these breaks, and we will announce specific dates soon. I'll end with two final points. The first may be obvious, but it's worth repeating nonetheless. February is a long way off, and as always, we will have to adapt our plans if circumstances change, especially as the weather gets colder and we contend with the flu season in addition to COVID. The second point is that we've learned a great deal over the past several months as a community about how to live with the virus, which will help us in the weeks and months ahead. Last spring, we had to scramble to respond to an unfolding crisis, changing the way we did just about everything in a matter of days. This semester hasn't been perfect, but thanks to the creativity, flexibility, and resilience of our students, faculty, and staff, we've come a long way. Online classes have improved, we've figured out ways to connect with each other safely, and together we've kept the virus largely under control within our community. The spring semester won't be easy, and it will require additional sacrifice from all of us, but we are getting better at this. We've learned a great deal, and together we'll continue to make the UVA experience the very best it can be. So thanks again for everything you're doing, and I look forward to finishing out this uniquely challenging but ultimately rewarding semester with all of you. And now over to you, Zeno. Thanks very much.
Zeno here, and I'm back like I left something. Come to you with the UVA team to talk all things COVID and news on grounds. While our infections have been down at the university, we know many students have had to find ways to live with the virus, sometimes right in their own apartment. What should you do if you're living with someone who has COVID? Pick a room in which the person with COVID can stay alone and do not let other people or pets into that room. Open windows to get some air circulation going. If the person is your roommate, think about sleeping on a couch or temporary mattress in another space. It's not ideal, but neither is Corona. If you must sleep in the same room, remain 6 feet from them or consider putting up a tarp or cardboard for separation. We are tapping into kindergarten art classes here with this one, but we must do it to protect one another. You have to clean often. Disinfect doorknobs and other surfaces, and the person with COVID in the house should wear a face covering when around others. Remember that the person with Corona is going through a lot, so try to connect and support virtually, or leave some snacks or a care package at their door. As always, be mindful of your health and contact student health about getting a test. And if you had COVID, please continue to be careful, for your sake and for others. It's not just university policy. There is still a lot we don't know about this virus, and Dr. Costi Sifri is going to tell us more.
The thing I'd like to talk to you about today is some questions around what to expect this winter. There's a lot of concern, I think appropriately so, of the potential of a winter surge of COVID infection. This year, we're already starting to see some hints of that in Europe and parts of the United States where it's starting to get colder. And it does raise a specter that we may be seeing or may see a winter surge of COVID-19 here locally. As we head into the cold and flu and now COVID season, it's also important to this year, more than any other, to get a flu vaccine. The flu vaccines are effective. They reduce the rates of infection by 50% or more. Those people who get the flu after getting a flu vaccine have milder symptoms and for shorter periods of time. We know people are going to get the flu this year, but if we can prevent people getting the flu and going to the doctor's offices or the emergency room, that'll really help us out. A question that's come up recently is, what happens after you get COVID? Can you get COVID infection again? We don't think COVID infection after initial episode of COVID is particularly common. We also can't say that it's impossible. So because of that, as we enter the cold and flu season, even if you've had an episode of COVID in the past, it remains important to continue to practice mask wearing, social distancing, hand washing, and again, doing the practices that we know that keep ourselves and our friends safe. Fortunately, over the last 2 weeks or so, we've seen a reduction in the number of COVID cases here in Charlottesville and specifically here at UVA. So I think that's a testament that we're doing the right things to do to control the virus. However, just a word of warning, we really have to be on guard against complacency. The virus, unfortunately, is tenacious. It finds opportunities. So thank you for your strong and dedicated efforts. Keep it up.
If you're looking for a fun and safe way to get some exercise or looking for a way to give back to the Charlottesville community, there's an event and where you can put both of them together. Make sure to check out the 29th annual 4th year 5K hosted by the Peer Health Educators. This race is virtual this year and is happening between October 25th and November 1st. And no, you don't have to be a 4th year to enter, and the registration fee is $10. All proceeds from the race go to the Charlottesville Area Community Foundation and the Community Emergency Response Fund. Follow the PHEs on Instagram for more info leading up to the race. There are also plenty of other ways to get out and explore. We've got a few ideas for you.
Go for a hike on one of the trails behind Gooch and Dillard dorms. It's an easy way to get into nature, and it's beautiful at this time of year. You can even see the observatory that O Hill is named after. If you're feeling that Halloween spirit, take a trip to Barracks and pick up some pumpkins to carve with your friends. Hitch a ride with Charlottesville City buses. It's free for UVA students. McIntyre Park is within walking distance for many students and is a great opportunity for some socially distanced outdoor fun. It's beautiful, and there's a skate park. Hop on the free trolley to Ix Art Park, where you can check out some local art and interactive exhibits. And less than 15 minutes from grounds is Riverview Park, where you can walk the Rivanna Trail and see some beautiful views of the river.
Those are some great ideas, and there are so many ways to get outside. One sculpture class has even moved their studio outside. Let's take a look.
We're standing in the Ruffin Courtyard. We are in this big outdoor sculpture studio space. And during the time of the virus, this is our main classroom. When the word went out, whether you wanted to teach online or in person, I answered right away that I wanted to teach in person. So we're in person, but we've made modifications. Our midterm exam is coming up, which will be an exhibition that will be in Ruffin Hall. My advanced class have harvested Tree of Heaven, which is an invasive species. It carves beautifully, it sands beautifully, and we're turning them into sculptures. And we also have pieces from Isabella Whitfield, who's a fifth-year student, and Margaret Kim, who's a fourth-year double major in studio art and biology. I'm actually very interested in the ancient art makers. They were outside all the time. I find it to be exhilarating to be outside. The light is good, the air is good. I'm essentially an optimistic person, so I look at restrictions as being opportunities.
That's awesome, and some of you are way more artistic than I'll ever be. Now, last week we heard from Chief Operating Officer JJ Davis. This week I'll leave you with a message from Provost Liz Magill. Hit the UVA team on Instagram or email us at uva@virginia.edu with questions, concerns, and good news. This has been Zeno, and I'm out like a light.
Hi, I'm Liz Magill, the Provost and Chief Academic Officer here at UVA. The pandemic has had enormous impact on almost every aspect of the work we do in the Provost's office. We've had to reimagine how we deliver content in the classroom, how we recruit new faculty, and how we can carry out our research safely. I've been continually impressed and humbled by the creativity and innovation of our faculty and our staff as they've met and addressed these challenges. No one wishes to find themselves in the midst of a crisis, but I'm proud to say that our faculty and our staff have continued to create innovative solutions to the complexities generated by the pandemic. I believe many of these innovations will remain in place at UVA long after this period in our lives is over. One great example of crisis-breeding creativity is our new signature J-term courses. This year, regular tuition includes one J-term course and one course in summer session 1. As we explained in a long message to the community in June, in addition to our regular classes offered at those times, we are designing new signature interdisciplinary courses for the January and summer terms. These courses will be taught by professors from across the university and will explore some of today's most relevant and pressing topics, from the science of pandemics to racial justice to the importance of democracy to an examination of sustainable cities of the future. J-term enrollment opens up during the week of November 9th, and full details about J-term can be found at januaryterm.virginia.edu. I know students will be excited to take these challenging and relevant classes, and I know faculty are excited to offer them. Another example is the new UVA Edge program, a collaboration between the College of Arts and Sciences and the School for Continuing and Professional Studies. UVA Edge is a one-year undergraduate experience for working adults with little or no college credit. Students will learn in-demand professional skills and earn 20 credits from UVA. We're piloting this program with a small group in 2021 with the plan to grow the program in future years. UVA Edge serves as a meaningful and compelling way to broaden access to the university and to earn college credit, and I'm really proud of the team that is responsible for its launch. Let me also highlight the hardworking and creative team in global affairs, including the International Studies Office. So many students were disappointed by the unexpected termination of their study abroad this spring and the cancellation of this year's programs. But our staff quickly discovered that there was a thirst for remote international work. They developed a course called Interning Abroad in Virtual Conditions and partnered with several international nonprofits to place our students. This past summer, UVA students took part in global virtual internships in India, Morocco, Thailand, and Peru. Several students elected to continue their internships into the fall because they were learning so much and had established such strong relationships with their international colleagues. This program was even more successful than we'd imagined, so much so that UVA plans to offer it again in the spring. I know that these are incredibly hard times for all of us, our faculty, our staff, and particularly our students. Nothing is as our students imagined it would be. I hope that all of us can take some heart from stories like these. Character and grit is best revealed not in the easy times, but in the hard times. I think that despite the current hard times, we can use the opportunity to demonstrate our very best. These few examples, for me, highlight the creativity and the resilience of the very best of UVA.